person in the room with the most control is generally the one with the lowest heart rate. And I have long believed that the skill of equanimity is probably one of the most undervalued, particularly in leadership and particularly in our current climate. And equanimity, of course, is this ability to remain even-keeled, grounded, calm and composed, regardless of what is going on around us. And I believe that calm is contagious. And you'll probably have experienced this yourself when chaos is unfolding around us, whether it's natural disasters, global pandemics, redundancies. When chaos is unfolding around us, people tend to gravitate towards the most calm individuals. We can tell who they are before they've even said anything because of the energy that comes from them. And we feel safer around these people. We feel like they have more control, like they're going to sort this out, they've got it covered. I was chatting to Dr. Ashley Bloomfield recently and at an event, and I was saying how as a leader during the pandemic, regardless of what he was telling us in those lunchtime briefings in the early days, the way he delivered it, because he was so calm and composed, I felt like he'd got it covered, even when it was apparent that we were losing control of the pandemic. So I think as leaders, when we can present calm and composed, we help assure others. We're also more likely to connect with others, and therefore they want to follow us. It's also a congruent place to come from. It's authentic. And it's something that, as well as being beneficial to those around us, is hugely helpful for ourselves. Because when we are not calm, it is so difficult for us to think clearly. So our brains lose their focus and their sharpness when we go into fight flight, because our bodies are designed when we're under threat to think about survival. So the only thing I want to think about is how to keep my blood pumping around my body, my vital organs working. Everything else switches off so that I can focus on survival when I'm in this fight flight mode. And of course, if we're trying to articulate a message or calm down those around us or be the leader for our team, we can't do that if our brain is in fight flight. If we're coming from a place of calm, composure and grounded and this equanimity, then it's good for us on the inside, it's good for everybody else on the outside. And yet you might say, well, can't I get angry as a leader? Surely there's enough for me to be angry about sometimes. And equanimity is not about squashing our emotions or not acknowledging them. It's about knowing that the emotions are there, but not allowing them to upset the balance within. So being able to stay calm, composed and grounded, regardless of what is happening for us. And this is a little bit like when you go snorkeling or diving. So the sea is different on the surface every day, depending on the swell, the weather, the wind, the season, whereabouts you are on the coast. And so whilst the sea can be quite bumpy and rough, whenever we go underneath, it's always calm and quiet and still. And you get that sense when you go under the water, snorkeling or diving, that regardless of what's happening on top, you go into this world of quiet, calm, this even keel. And that's a little bit like equanimity. If we can create this space within, that regardless of what's happening around us and the emotions that we acknowledge, it doesn't affect the centering that we have that allows us to remain calm and composed. And of course that in itself then helps us think more clearly and focus on what's ahead and articulate ourselves better. And this has been true for me right at the small end of the scale when I used to get nerves around public speaking. I would be able to take deep breaths, do a meditation, use some affirmations, the stuff that brings me back to the present to remain equanimous, regardless of the nerves that I was feeling. And then right up to the other end of the scale when I was in my human resources career and we'd had deaths on site. And my role was to go and sit with the team who'd lost a member of staff, to communicate it across the organisation and to put all the logistics around that. The one person you need, and the comments that I often got in that space was this calm that we bring to this situation of chaos. So I think it's an important skill, particularly for leaders, and it's an important skill that we need at home as well. because it helps our relationships. It means that we're more likely to articulate ourselves better and get a better outcome when we come from this place of equanimity.